And welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett and Kent Myers. We're here every week. We meet interesting people and talk about topical issues, and we're continuing kind of our educational slant by visiting the University of Tulsa.
Yes, the president of the University of Tulsa, Dr. Steadman Upham, is going to be here with us, telling us all about what's going on at the University of Tulsa. We've been wanting to get him on for a while, and it worked out that he was able to come down this week, and we're thrilled to have him.
Much to discuss with the president of the university. We'll be back and get to it right after this.
Every day America uses clean-burning natural gas instead of coal or oil is a day of victory for our environment. That's why Chesapeake chose to explore for natural gas exclusively, and we've never looked back. Because natural gas burns twice as clean as oil or coal, and reducing carbon emissions to combat potential global warming is every bit as urgent as cutting our dependence on energy imports. As America's #1 driller of new gas wells, Chesapeake is moving fast to find untapped reserves of natural gas here at home. It's the right fuel for America's economy and the fuel for a clean air future. We just happen to be early to see it so clearly. Chesapeake, natural gas wins the day.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
Today we're very pleased to welcome to The Verdict for the first time Dr. Steadman Upham, the 17th president of the University of Tulsa. Dr. Upham came to the University of Tulsa in 2004 as president. Prior to that time, he had a very fine academic career. He did his undergraduate work at the University of Redlands in California, got his master's and his PhD at the Arizona State University, served in various academic capacities before coming to Tulsa. Since he's been at Tulsa, we've seen the very rapid and effective expansion of that campus, both from an academic standpoint as well as a facility standpoint. And he is involved not only at the University of Tulsa, but in the Tulsa community in many activities, too numerous to mention, but one of which I will. He is on the board of directors of the Tulsa Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Upham, thanks for coming over.
My great pleasure to be here, Kent. Thank you.
So much conversation about the economy, and your area is obviously under consideration when those types of decisions are made too. How do you think your university is handling the economy, and how are you affected by it?
Nick, universities are businesses first and foremost. We have a $1 billion plus balance sheet, operate on a $160 million budget. So we clearly are feeling the pinch, like every other college and university in the country. For us, I think the most serious impact has been the drop in value of our endowment, about 25% during the last year, actually during the last 6 months. That, of course, will impact our operating revenue since we do depend on the earnings from endowment. But we are in fine shape. We're a strong university. We have ample cash reserves and good cash flow.
Well, your endowment's pretty strong too. It's, you know, you could always be better, I suppose, but
Well,
all things
always
considered,
is.
your endowment is noted as being pretty strong.
It is. On a per student basis, we rank in the top 50 or 60 universities in the country.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, do you anticipate any tuition increases for the students?
There will be modest tuition increases going forward. You know, the cost of energy, liability insurance, all of the things that businesses deal with are going up. We need to raise revenue slightly, and so there will be a modest tuition increase, but nothing significant.
Let me ask you another question, and I'd like for you to just kind of take the ball and run with this, if you will. Would you tell our viewers what's going on in two areas? What's going on in the academic area? What kind of programs are you adding, perhaps subtracting, whatever it may be, from the academic side? And then from a brick and mortar standpoint, what are you doing to that already beautiful campus there in Tulsa?
Well, thank you for saying that. We have added a significant number of faculty during the last 5 years, and we've done that really for two reasons. One is to internationalize our curriculum. We have had a strong curriculum. The Tulsa curriculum is actually something that is spoken about and known countrywide. But over the years, we haven't really infused the international perspectives. So we've been working hard to put additional languages into the curriculum, building international components into business, into law, into all of our social sciences and humanities courses. So that has certainly been a major focus. We've also added some degree programs. We just added a brand new PhD program in chemistry, which we're very excited about. We have some master's programs coming online in environmental science, which is very timely. So that has really been a major thrust of our academic enterprise. On the, go ahead.
I would say you partially identified what I was going to get to, and that is what trends do you see out there? And you mentioned there's a business aspect to running a university, and your customers are those students and maybe their parents. What trends do you see that they're looking for that you and other universities are having to adapt?
I think that students who come to us today are pretty serious-minded about what happens after they graduate, and consequently employment and preparation for careers is perhaps more important than it's been in many years. We're proud of our placement rates. We have above a 90% placement of graduates. Now in this economy that may dip a little bit, but last year more than 90% of our graduates were placed upon graduation, which is something we're proud of.
I from time to time have the pleasant opportunity to teach at your fine university at the law school, and I'm just, every time I go over there, I'm continually amazed that there's something new, very attractive, either under construction or finished. Tell our viewers what's going on at the campus from a brick and mortar standpoint.
Kent, there's been an enormous amount of construction during the last 5 years, and it's all part of a plan that was developed before I got to the university that is intended to make TU a fully residential campus, one that is nationally recognized, and one that is selective in its admission. And so the buildings that we have put up, large numbers of student apartments, have brought our residency rates from about 40% of students living on campus to more than 75% students living on campus.
Is your enrollment still in the 4,500 range? Or?
We're actually 4,300, and that is a number that we're very fond of. It works in terms of our facilities, in terms of the faculty. We have an 11-to-1 student-faculty ratio. But the student apartments have been a big part of what we've put together. But we've also created a new student services center. We have had new facilities for every one of our Division I sports in the last 10 years. We've added a recreational area on campus, the West Campus, where the Collins Fitness Center and playing fields are located. So it really has created a more complete environment for students living on campus.
Where do those students come from? Where do you recruit most successfully?
Well, more than half our students come from outside the state of Oklahoma, and that's something that we have worked very hard on. We actually have regional recruiters in Dallas and Houston, in St. Louis, Kansas City, Denver. We believe that forging relationships with the high school counselors is extremely important, And the people that we have on the ground in those cities help us find the right students to be successful at the university.
Much of what I've read about the University of Tulsa over the course of the last several years, since I now have a student that's a junior in college, we looked very closely at Tulsa and came away with the idea that from a private university standpoint, which the University of Tulsa is, it's really a bargain financially.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because just in January, the Princeton Review included the University of Tulsa in, among 50 universities that they consider best value. And in the write-up of the university, they identify us as the lowest cost selective university in the country.
So even a modest tuition increase is not going to push you out of that category. You're still going to be a bargain at the end of the day.
We believe so, and we still have the lowest tuition of anyone in our peer group.
Mm-hmm. In this economic slowdown, are you seeing less interest in people wanting to go to college? Are you seeing increased enrollment at universities across the country, not only Tulsa? What's the trend?
Mick, last year was a record year for applications for the university prior to the downturn. We are running right on last year's number, record number of applications. To me, the most exciting thing is not the demand, it's the quality of the students that are seeking entry. And the quality of the class that we're currently admitting that will come in the fall will be probably the best in the history of the university.
What do you think of the student loan programs that are available? Are they adequate? Do they need to be adjusted?
Well, they're certainly adequate, and if the stimulus package goes through, depending on how it comes out of conference, there will be even more money in the Pell Grant program, which is for the lowest income families in the country. Obviously, financial aid is extraordinarily important, and I'm proud to say that more than 90% of our students get some form of institutional financial aid from the university.
Let's take a break. We're visiting with Dr. Steadman Upham. He is the president of the University of Tulsa. You're watching The Verdict, and we'll be right back.
Most of the artwork that I produce is with colored pencil and watercolor. The subject matter that I use is, of course, Chickasaw. Most of my themes revolve around family and really that foundation that has been a part of Chickasaw life since ancient times. The Chickasaw Nation is a matriarchal society. You've got one lady, she's probably the oldest member of the family, that everybody goes to and that everybody reveres. That is something that every woman can look forward to in the Chickasaw Nation, because they are extremely important in the family. Maybe one day I will be a matriarch. I think this is probably the secret to the success of our government, is that we still have maintained that idea that family is the most important thing, and that we must minister to the family first, and then all other things will fall into place.
Home values are down in some states, but not in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's home values have increased 4.2% during the past 12 months. Unlike some states where home values have decreased as much as 20%. Good thing you're in Oklahoma. There may be real estate problems in some states, but there has never been a better time than now to buy or sell a home in Oklahoma. One of the most affordable states in the country, Oklahomans are buying and selling homes every day, and an Oklahoma realtor can show you how. Good thing you're in Oklahoma.
That land next door was a mess. Take more than a lawnmower to revive that land. I heard the oil and natural gas people was cleaning up old oil sites, and it wouldn't cost us a plug nickel. Oh yes, sir, it was quite a revival. The whole church showed up, want to make a playground for the kids. It sure is a blessing.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. We're visiting on the University of Tulsa with the President of the University, Steadman Upham.
Stead, how do you evaluate Tulsa's strong academic reputation? Do you believe it's valid, and is it continuing? Are you enhancing it?
We are certainly working to enhance it in everything we do. We actually feel that the reputation of the university is a lagging indicator to what actually is going on the ground. You know, for what they're worth, the U.S. News and World Report's ranking has us 83rd in the nation among the top national universities. We actually believe that we rank higher than that because so much of that ranking is based on reputation. It's 25% is a reputational indicator. If you look at the metrics of performance, we're a top 50 university, and that's our goal, is to get into the top 50.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you maintain that? You've established it. What, as president, do you do to make sure it continues or improves?
It begins with the quality of students, and we have worked hard to improve the quality of each entering class. This class that we admitted last fall has an average ACT score of 28. 63% wow. Of our students are in the top 10% of their high school class. We had 77 National Merit Scholars in the freshman class, which is 1 in 9 of our freshmen. 1 in 10 of all our students is a National Merit Scholar. So those are the kinds of things that we work on, and eventually that permeates the national understanding, and reputation follows.
Beyond the academics, what sort of student should consider Tulsa?
Well, obviously we want students that are well qualified academically, but we're also interested in well-rounded students. Most of the students who come to us have been community volunteers and have a good understanding of some of the needs in the communities they come from. They get to the university, become very active in internship programs. We're interested in students that have musical ability, artistic ability, who can play athletics. We're really looking for a very well-rounded student.
How do you recruit faculty to Tulsa to make sure that your faculty quality stays up at the top like it is?
The best recruiting tool we have, Kent, is to get a prospective faculty member to come to campus and see Tulsa and to see Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a misunderstood state in the Union, and I think people who come to Oklahoma, come to Tulsa, are mightily surprised about how livable and how beautiful it really is.
What about your graduate programs? Can you tell us a little bit about, once you get your undergraduate degree, what type of graduate degree can you obtain from the University of Tulsa?
We have the full range of degrees, master's and PhD degrees. We also, of course, have a very fine law school, which has about 500 students in it.
Yeah, Dean Levitt was on with us a month or so ago.
Dean Janet Levitt is doing a terrific job for us and helping build the reputation of an already very fine law school.
What's the arrangement between you and the city of Tulsa? How is that moving along?
We have a wonderful relationship with the city. We are a private university, but we work very closely with the city government. We entered into a management agreement in July to manage Gilcrease Museum for the city, and that's just turned out to be a fabulous relationship. We're proud of the way we work with the city, and we're grateful for the way the city treats us.
I know we've had Tom McDaniel, the president of Oklahoma City University, on a time or two, and he always just seems to brighten up when he talks about walking around the campus, meeting the students and having lunch with them and all. Do you do similar things?
I do. That's one of the finest parts about my job, is to get to associate with bright, vibrant young people who have aspirations. You walk around a college campus and you can't help but be optimistic about the future.
What was your own educational background when you were an undergraduate? Do you find yourself thinking back to that thought process? Because you really have to understand how young people think if you're going to design a campus environment that caters to their needs.
Well, I do think back to when I was an undergraduate, and I'll tell you, the world has changed a lot since then. The students that are coming to us are far more savvy than I was, far more understanding of the nuances and complexities of the modern world, and far more influenced by global forces. And we consequently listen well when we talk to our students, because we need to know how they're reacting and how they're interpreting the things that we put before them.
How do you keep up with the technology and the expectations of that generation to continue to advance their education and their interest level?
It's a race. We are always one step ahead. It's very expensive, but Technology changes so quickly. You want to be careful about not making too big an investment in any one technology, because 2-3 years down the road it will change and there'll be a new thing.
How do you handle access to the internet on the campus?
We're part of the big backbone that runs through Oklahoma, and we have very high bandwidth as a result of that. We're on the National Lambda Rail, as you probably know, and because of that, bandwidth and capacity are really not an issue for us.
Put on your prophet's hat and look down the road 5 years and tell us what one would expect to see from the standpoint of programs at the University of Tulsa and from the standpoint of enrollment.
Well, enrollment, we're not interested in increasing enrollment at the University of Tulsa. We have 4,200 students, 1,200 graduate students, and 3,000 undergraduate students. That's a number that works well for us. Our facilities are adequate in every way to deal with that number of students. And we have a mantra that small is better. Small is beautiful. We can have close student-faculty contact with this size, and that's something students come to us for. Academically, I would hope that the reputation of the university would continue. Obviously, we're going to be working to deepen and strengthen our academic programs by hiring better faculty and continuing to recruit outstanding students.
Well, let's talk about athletics. You've had some great success stories coming off the athletic fields.
It's been a fun 5 years. The first year I was president, we were still in the Western Athletic Conference, and didn't have as much opportunity there to generate fan interest because of the disparate members of that conference and the large distances that existed between schools. We're now in Conference USA, and I think it has been in every way a fabulous transition for us. We're competitive with the schools that we play. Every sport has had success, and as I said, all of them have brand new facilities, which attracts high quality student athletes.
How important is athletics, though, to your faculty and to the people that help you make your decisions? You know, how do you weigh that between academics and athletics, and where do you draw the line, and how important, what role does it play?
Well, it's a very careful balance, Mick. Athletics are expensive at the D1 level, very expensive. But our alumni expect competitive athletics. Our students love it, and the community, I think, looks to us for that kind of entertainment. It's been extraordinarily important in terms of exposure. Just in football alone, since we've joined Conference USA, we've had more than 25 hours of national TV exposure, which is something you just can't get any other way.
And it helps you attract students because of that.
It does, and also because of the great success of our teams.
Just in the few seconds we have, we've had a lot of college presidents, or a few college presidents on in the course of our show, and none of them got a PhD in being a college president. How did you come to be a college president, and were you prepared for it?
I don't think anyone is ever prepared for the job when they step into it. I'm in my 11th year being a college president. I was president 6 years at the Claremont Graduate University before I came to Tulsa. You learn by doing. I came up through the ranks. I'm fortunate I was a professor who moved through the ranks, gained tenure, moved into leadership positions in my department and in research institutes, and then into university administration. So step by step, they are complex enterprises.
Dr. Upham, we have run out of time, but thank you very much for coming on and discussing your role at the University of Tulsa, and wish you the best of success.
Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, thanks. We're glad you're here.
It's a great success story for Oklahoma. Kent and I'll be back with a final word right after this.
good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
Welcome back to The Verdict. We are wrapping up a show on the University of Tulsa.
Yeah, Dr. Upham's quite a fine gentleman, and he's got that university just humming along very nicely. He's had a lot to work with when he came, but he's done a lot with it, and they're making progress. He seems to be quite adaptable to the changing circumstances, both financial and otherwise. And I know from information I've received from faculty members over there, he's quite well loved by the community.
Interesting that he said he wasn't trying to increase student enrollment, was satisfied with where it was, but always wants to increase the level of education for all of his students. I think it's a good approach.
They have their academic niche, which is quite a nice one, I might add, and they're in Oklahoma perspective, they're kind of a diamond in the rough.
We'll be back next week with another show on The Verdict. For website information, utulsa.edu and our website, theverdict.tv.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.